Cheryl, let's have some fun here. Let's present a mock draft concept where I will be PWHL Seattle, you will be PWHL Vancouver, and we'll kind of build our dream team here through this expansion draft process. So let's instill some rules to get started here. So, first and foremost, of
Mhm.
course, with the concept of this expansion draft process, we will walk away with 12 players today each. We know in the league there is a 5 day exclusive signing window from June 4th till the 8th. For the purpose of today, we will go about identifying 5 players in which we will sign in that exclusive signing window. These can be unprotected players and also players on expiring contracts. And from there, we'll move forward with the expansion draft. We'll each identify 7 players that we will select. And then, of course, throughout this process, we will identify that the original 6 teams, when 2 players are relinquished from that team, they are entitled to protect an additional player to make up their fourth and final protected player at whole. So we'll use our best judgment to identify who we think that player could likely be. And then, of course, lastly, salaries are not public at this time, so that won't be a factor as we go about this process. So, how do those rules sound? Pretty good to me.
They sound pretty good, Kenzie. I should have worn my baby blue, shouldn't have I? I mean,
I know I
if
really
I'm
should have
going to put the
wore
GM
green.
hat on in Vancouver, I should have done it.
I'll do my best Megan Turner impression, I guess, as we go through with this. Since I'm wearing purple today, and I think I should be entitled to the first pick because that's how we're going to roll here. I've got the lead
Oh,
colors
okay.
on, and so I get first pick. Um, so we'll each go through now and identify our 5 players that we will be selecting in our exclusive signing window. So, first player to come to PWHL Seattle in this exclusive signing window will be Hillary Knight. So come on down, Hillary. Welcome to PWHL Seattle. I think this is a perfect fit in a newer hockey market like Seattle. What better player to bring in than the face of the women's game? One of the most incredible, talented, decorated players in the game, and Hillary Knight. So she will be my first player that I'll select in this exclusive signing window.
Well, if you're taking Hillary Knight because you get the first pick, I'm going right to Alex Carpenter, one of the best players in the world. And if I'm looking at my one hole, my 1C, I'm going directly at Alex Carpenter to build my forward group around Kenzie. So 2 American players are going to go head to head in the West right now.
Okay, next up, I am going to go for a defender. I'm going to look straight to the Montreal Victoire, and I want Kayla Barnes. So, Barnes, welcome to PWHL Seattle. You will be my second player I will be signing in this exclusive signing window. Look, she's so dynamic. She can quarterback a power play, shut down D, also has that ability to move the puck forward. To think this will just be her second year in the league, and you look at her body of work in just that first season, to me, it's a no-brainer. So welcome to Seattle, Kayla Barnes.
Well, GM Danielle Sauvageau may not be happy with you or I, because if you're taking Barnes, I'm taking the right-hander and Aaron Ambrose, defender of the year last year, can quarterback a power play as well, play a ton of minutes, and one of those players who can make a first pass. So I envision her making that first pass to an Alex Carpenter to generate my offense.
Okay, so we'll pause here because the Victoire have lost Barnes and Ambrose, and so they're entitled to protect their fourth and final player. They've protected Debian, Poulin, and Stacy before this even started. So, Cheryl, let's use our best judgment here. They've already lost 2 key defenders. Of course, there's Gardner, but you have to think Wilgren could likely go as well. Who do you think we should be protecting here for Montreal?
Well, this is a tough one, right? Because if you hold Gardner, you've got that top line, but I'm going right to the back end. I mean, they just lost 2 of the top defenders in the world. I think they have to hold Anna Wilgren.
Okay, so Wilgren is going to be the final protected player for Montreal. So she is unavailable to be a part of this expansion process. So Wilgren will be staying in Montreal. Okay, back to me. And since we can be selecting players that are unprotected and on expiring contracts, I'm going to look to free agent Susanna Tapity. I'm going to need a 1C. I am going to need someone that can take the bulk of my face-offs. And we've seen what she can do in high stakes moments in the playoffs, score critical goals. So, Susanna Tapany, welcome to Seattle.
Well, I'm still looking at my blue line here because I've got a lot of formidable defenders that I've got my eye on. So I'm going right to the Minnesota Frost and I'm saying, sorry, Ken Clee, but I'm taking Sophie Jakes off your hands. She's just such an offensive threat. She's got a bomb from the blue line and one of those defenders that can provide offense, which can be difficult at times, in particular on specialty teams. So I'm leaning into her for another right shot defender on my blue line.
We do need a backup before you pick Jake's there because we do need to protect an additional Boston Fleet player because I just took Taffany. So Knight and Taffany are off the board. You've got Jake, so Boston's entitled to protect an additional player. I mean, Bilka's top of mind for me. Do you think that's who they'd likely protect?
I do. I think just the finesse
Okay.
aspect of her game and what she can do to create. I think Bilka is the one that they would likely go ahead and protect.
Okay, so Hannah Bilka off the board. And you selected Jake's, which I would have loved to have taken, so that's okay. You've got Jake's, Ambrose, Carpenter. I will bring down another Minnesota Frost defender, Claire Thompson. Thompson,
I knew
welcome
it.
to Seattle. I think, look, you're heading into an Olympic year. You know she's going to want to play. You look at the points she put up this season as well, has that offensive mindset, brings the pro mindset as well to the game. So I'm going to bring in Claire Thompson. And so since you took Jake's, I took Thompson. The Frost are now entitled to protect an additional player. I mean, there's a lot there. You could look at someone like Zumwinkle. You look at Kelly Panic. Kelly Panic, likely that player they'd want to keep. That's another big center that could
This is
go.
this is a tough one for me because Grace Umwinkle, I mean, I would want them both on my roster. So, I mean, double-edged sword here if we're picking. But you look at the veteran leadership of a Kelly Panic, what she does in the dot. I mean, look
Yeah.
at how she played in the playoffs and the number of face-offs that she took alone, and then on the PK. This one's a toss-up. I'm going to leave it to you to make the decision on this one, Kenzie Lalonde.
Okay. Since I'm wearing purple, right? Let's allow
Yep.
the Minnesota Frost to keep Kelly Panic. So she'll stay in Minnesota. Panic's unavailable in this expansion process. So let's to recap. I've
Whew.
got Knight, Barnes, Tapany, and Thompson. Vancouver has Carpenter, Ambrose, Jakes, and now you can sign another player in this exclusive signing window, Cheryl, for your fourth player. Who would you like?
Well, I'm going to go after, an unprotected free agent right now, and that's going to be in Hannah Miller. I'm saying, come on home, Hannah. We
Mm.
want to get your hometown fans in the crowd. And if you notice, there's a theme. I'm looking down the middle here. I think you got to build on your blue line, but you also got to build down the middle of the ice. Hannah Miller, an extraordinary center. We've seen her production. I think she's just got a bullet from the flank. She can shoot from distance, and I think she's a power play specialist. So I want to build some specialty teams and some homegrown familiarity. So welcome to Vancouver, Hannah Miller.
I knew you were going to do that. That's fine. That's fine. I
Yeah.
like that story. Hannah Miller back home in Vancouver. I'll let you have it. So, with my fifth and final exclusive signing window opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of that, look at the free agent pool, and I'm going to bring in Minnesota Frost forward Michaela Cava, the Thunder Bay native. I think we've seen what she can do. She can play top 6 minutes. I think she could bring a lot of speed to a top line. And working with Hillary Knight, I think there could be some great chemistry there. So she'll be my fifth and final person I'm going to select in this window. And Cava, welcome to Seattle.
And a playoff performer. I like that you took her because she was on my radar as well because she's got heavy IQ. So I'm leading on that as well. And so I'm going to lean back to the Victoire and I'm going to say, I'm sorry, Danielle Sauvageau, yet again, but I'm going to unravel your top line. And I'm going to take Jen Gardner from you because I just love her awareness on the ice. I think she can play with someone like Alex Carpenter. So I'm building a top bona fide line right now. And I'm also bringing Jen Gardner home. So when you look at that collectively, I just think that I've got some homegrown, I've got some IQ, I've got some finesse, and I've got some grit.
See, you've taken Ambrose and Jakes as your defender. Your top line's insane. Carpenter, Gardner, and Miller. I've got Knight, Tapany, and Cava. These are some incredible top lines and just yeah, top starting lineup, really, when you think about it. Okay,
But yeah,
so our
yeah, it's about
exclusive signing
building.
window has closed. To sum up, Seattle, myself, I have gone out and selected Hillary Knight. She's going to be my captain. of this team: Kayla Barnes, Susanna Taffany, Claire Thompson, and Michaela Cava. Cheryl, if you want to recap your 5 players you've selected in your exclusive signing window.
You know, the no-brainer in Alex Carpenter. I've got Erin Ambrose. I've got Sophie Jakes. So I got 2 righties on the back end. So talk about a core that I'm building around. And then I've got Hannah Miller. She can play the flank, but she can also play down the middle. So right now I've got my 1-2 hole taken care of. And then I'm going with Jen Gardner, who can play on the flank with anyone because she's got the IQ to get to those open spaces. So I really like what I got here, Kens. Can't wait to play ya.
I have to think we would be a good matchup on opening night. That would be pretty fun to see. If I had to wrangle the schedule, it would be pretty cool to see Seattle and Vancouver face off for their first ever game. Okay, let's move on to the expansion draft. So these are players that were selected in the 2024 draft and still have a year left in protection, or also they still have a contract reigning through the following season. So these are all the players that were eligible to be protected at the beginning of this expansion process. And now they're available to Seattle and to Vancouver. So I'll start things off again, and I'm going to go and lock up my goaltender here in PWHL Seattle, and I am going to welcome Ottawa Charge goaltender Emirates Mashmeyer. So she will be my starting goaltender, one of the most experienced goaltenders in this league. It was challenging to see her go down with injury last season with Ottawa. You have to think she'll be healthy, excited to get to work, and such a good leader off the ice as well, a fan favorite. So Emirates Mashmeyer will be my starting goaltender in Seattle.
Well, and this is a huge position. So because you have finally taken a goaltender, guess what? I'm going to answer with a goaltender. And I'm going to take Corinne Schroeder out of New York. She was not protected there. And again, just for her body of work, what she's done in the crease in her past season as well as this season. And overall, I mean, this was a tough decision for me with all of the goaltenders available here, Kens. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to go with Schroeder.
Yeah, and you have to think, like, I'll want another goalie too, as will you. But the free agent market for goaltending is pretty exciting. So you
Oof.
hope when that window does open on the 20th of June, maybe reconnecting with some available goaltenders to round out that position. Okay, moving on. I'm going to go to a defender, and I'm going to look at the Toronto Scepters and welcome in Savannah Harmon. I think she can play in all situations, as we've seen before, the minutes she can log, um, and a great two-way defender. So Savannah Harmon, welcome to Seattle.
Well, I'm going to go back to the Frost right now, and I'm happy she wasn't protected after we took 2 Minnesota players because Grace Zumwinkle is in my wheelhouse. She's got that linear speed. She's able to drive the net, and we saw in the playoffs, I thought she really opened up her game, and I can just really see her on the flank. I want a little bit of size. I want a little bit of strength and physicality on my flanks on every single line. So I'm going with Grace Zumwinkle. I'm just picturing her, whether she's alongside Miller or Carpenter right now.
Okay, easy, easy, Vancouver. Okay, since I did select Harmon, Toronto has now lost Hannah Miller and Savannah Harmon, so they're entitled to protect an additional player. I mean, I go to Nurse, I go to Malte. If I'm the Scepters, I'm protecting Sarah Nurse. She is such a fan favorite. We've seen her elevate her game and can be relied upon sometimes in the dot as well. Good net front. So I think the Scepters would protect Sarah Nurse.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And you mentioned it. She's a fan favorite, but I think she can also play in all different areas of the ice. You've seen her in the bumper on the power player. You know she's got a shot. She's played at center. She can throw her to the flank if you need to. So I think there's also versatility there, and she's also very familiar within the market. And as you said, she's just so well liked amongst the fan base. So I'd be holding Sarah Nurse.
I think Scepters fans would be heartbroken if Sarah Nurse left. So let's
Yes.
give those fans some to hold on to here as they move forward. They've already lost Miller, they've already lost Harmon, so they know Sarah Nurse will be staying put. Okay, so I'll keep looking. I want to look at another center. Kelly Panic was protected, so she's unavailable. So I'm going to look to the Ottawa Charge, and I'm going to go Gabby Hughes. I think, again, you look at her playoff performance, elevated her game. We saw how well she could do in the dot up against Poulin night in and night out. The volume of faceoffs she took, And also she's not afraid to get gritty, get mad. So the familiarity as well as I think with the national team, her Barnes Knight, they did have a few years together. So I'm going to welcome Gabby Hughes to PWHL Seattle.
That's a really great choice, Kenzie. And for a lot of those reasons, I'm going to go with Jesse Eldridge as my next choice out of New York. And when you look at this league and you talk about where players are in and around the paint and where that goal scoring comes from, and I think she's a natural goal scorer. And when I mentioned I wanted Grace Umwinkle because I want some a physical and edge on every line, I think she's someone that's real difficult to move from the net front. So I'm going to go with her. I think she's strong down low. I think she's extremely smart, and can she distribute the puck so she can play with top players. You have to have IQ to play with top players. So I'm going to take her to work out whether it's on my top line or on my second line.
Okay, so we've got Hughes off the board and Eldridge. So now Ottawa
Yep.
and New York can protect an additional player. So let's look at Ottawa first. Look, you've got Bell, got Larocque, Captain Brianne Jenner. I think it's a toss-up for me. I feel like they would keep Jenner. She really is such a heartbeat to that team. Thoughts? Do you
Yeah,
think
this
they,
is tough,
yeah?
right? Because what Bell has done on the blue line, in particular in the playoffs, and
They
so
did keep
her
Savalainen
upward
though.
trajectory.
Yeah.
Well, that is why I would probably potentially lean towards Jenner, just to be able to play in those different situations. You saw her on the power play where she plays on the flank. Who knows if Anisheva will remain with the charge? But I think that that's an area where Jenner is so good. And you look at the leadership capacity, it matters. It matters within a locker room, the details, the professionalism. So, this is a toss-up for me because I originally had Ashton Bell on my protected list. But I'm with you. I can work with Brianne Jenner, their captain, being protected now.
Okay, so Jenner, let's lock that in. So she'll be the fourth and final protected player for the Ottawa Charge. Brianne Jenner's off the board. Let's turn over to New York. Schroeder's gone, and you've got Eldridge. You took two Sirens players, so they are entitled to protect an additional player. My eyes go to Abby Rock. I mean, skill is there. First ever Michigan in the league. And good locker room vibes. You can always count on Abby Rock for a good laugh, some grit to the game. I think they'd want to keep her.
I think so too, and she's really good in the dot. And you talk about players that are effective down low in zone, and she's one of them. I mean, she's one of the best in the world in small space, in my opinion. And so now all of a sudden you have her. I mean, you got to look down the middle because you did lose Alex Carpenter. So I think that you want to make sure that you've shored up a natural center, and that is exactly what she is. And you can toy with where Fillier is going to play in New York, but you can put her on the flank alongside someone with Abby Rock, or you can move Fillier to the middle as your 1C. So I think that gives you some layers to your game. So I'd probably hold Rock.
Okay, so let's recap because each team now has been able to protect their fourth and final player. So Boston has protected Hannah Bilka, Minnesota has protected Kelly Panic, New York has protected Abby Rock, Ottawa has protected Brianne Jenner. We said Montreal would likely protect Anna Wilgren, and Toronto Septors fans can smile as we've made the decision that Sarah Nurse will remain in Toronto. So we can move forward, and it's players left or up for grabs. So I'm going to go straight to the Ottawa Charge, and I'm going to welcome Ashton Bell. Cheryl, when you made the decision to initially protect her on your list, my eyes went straight to her, and I thought that's a really smart decision. So I am going to probably make you mad here and take Ashton Bell to PWHL Seattle.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I'm not buying you dinner, that's for sure, Kenzie,
Ah.
because she would have been right on my bingo card, Ashton Bell. So if I can't have Ashton Bell as my next defender, then I'm going to take Emma Malte from the Toronto Septors. I don't think there's anyone who cuts the ice in half better than her, and I'm looking at my specialty teams as well. The jailbreak is pretty important in this league. She was the first one to get it, and I think she's a PK specialist. I think there's more offense to her game as well, and I think, although we didn't see it this past season, I know Emma from Ohio State and when she was growing up, and I know she can put up numbers as well, and she can offensively produce. So I'm not going to pigeonhole to sort of a defensive role. I think she can certainly play offense, and she's got good set of hands. They're quick hands. She can play a bumper on a power play, in my opinion. So when I look at this collectively, I look at Emma Malte because she's also going to play a real tough physical two-way game.
And I'd like to find a winger here that I think could play with Hughes, or even I think it'd be fun to watch her play with Knight. I'm going to select Abby Boreen from the Montreal
Ooh.
Victoire. I think, look, ups and downs to this season. I think there's still a lot there in her game. Maybe a new environment could kickstart the game that she can bring. Size, she's got the skill. I think she's got the IQ as well. I think it'd be fun to watch her and Kava even work together. So I'm going to bring in Abby Boreen. So I've got not only the hockey IQ in Boreen and Thompson, it looks like, but the classroom smarts as well. A pharmacist and a doctor are coming to Seattle. I like this.
Oh, you're going for the intelligence, are you? Well, listen,
Hey.
I'm going to look, across at the Ottawa Charge right now, and you have to believe that there's potential in players, and so I'm going to take the right-hander Danielle Serdachny. And I think that what we saw this year isn't a snippet of what she's capable of. I also think that she can play in sort of that center role. Right now, I have Carpenter and I also have Hannah Miller in the dot. Well, they're two lefties. I think I want a right-handed center. So I'm going to move
Mm.
Danielle Serdachny. I think when she gets speed underneath the puck, you see her in her own zone, starting in the middle of the ice. She has the ability to transport that puck. Yes, she's got to work on that distribution, making her plays a little bit sooner, but I think there's a lot of talent. There's a ton of skill with this young athlete. So I want her in Vancouver.
Yeah, I would have picked her, so that's all right. I'll get over that. I think I'm comfortable with my defenders. I've got Harmon, Barnes, Thompson, and Bell, so I might use my final two draft picks here to go forwards. And hypothetically, if I am Megan Turner, I know the Boston Fleet better than anybody. And I'm going to welcome Jamie Lee Rattray. We've seen her be that X factor in moments. She can bring the speed needed to a line. She can help energize a line. So I'd expect to play her with some top 6 minutes. We've seen her have chemistry with Knight before in the past as well. So Canada's own Jamie Lee Rattray, welcome to Seattle.
Yeah, that's a good selection there, Ken's, because you know that she has the ability to change a game on one shift, right? She's a momentum
Yeah.
changer, and that's what you want. You want that killer instinct. I think you get that with Jamie Lee Rattray. I'm going to go off the board a little bit here because I'm looking at my blue line, and although it's really strong, I need more. So although I'm looking at the draft on June 24th, and I've got my eyes on a few, I'm going to go to my next selection, and I'm going to say I want Allie Simpson. And I'm looking at three
Mm.
right-handers right now, but that's okay. I like her style of play, the way that she can activate her spacing through the neutral zone. So when I'm building, as a former defender, I like to build from the blue line out. I don't have as many as I want right now, but I'm looking pretty deep. So I'm going to go with Allie Simpson.
And of course, each team can only lose a max of 4 players. So Toronto and Boston is what's left for us to round out our selection here. Um, and I talked about how I've got some IQ. You know what I mean? So how about the Patty Kazmaier Award winner and Izzy Daniel from the Toronto Scepter? She's a smart player. I think there's still, we've talked a little bit about potential. And I think with the, supporting cast that I've brought in already, with the likes of Boreen, of the Knight, of even the Tapanese as well, I think she could really help to bolster the forwards that I've brought in. So I'm going to bring in Izzy Daniel to the PWHL Seattle as my seventh and final pick in this expansion draft.
This is a tough exercise, isn't it, Kenzie? I mean, you look up and down and how many available players there are, and of course,
So
free
you
agents
have
aren't
to pick
available at
from
this point in
Boston.
time. I am going right to Boston. I was looking at Boston anyway, and I'm looking at Emily Brown. And the reason why
Nice.
is she's a shutdown defender. And I need one because I got Sophie Jakes who's going to be going,
Hmm.
who's going to be up ice. Aaron Ambrose on the blue line, potentially to quarterback alongside someone like Sophie Jakes on the power play. So I need someone to shut it down. And I like her size. I like her leverage. And I like that she's a left. Right, I just mentioned that I have a 3 right-handed Ds. So now I've got 4 on my blue line. I've got Schroeder in the back end. I've got, I think, a great group with a mix of physicality, brains, and as well as speed up front. So I've got a nice little mix here. Would you like to play an exhibition game?
I think that would be great, an exhibition game with only these players. We'll hold
We
off on
might
the
have to suit
entry
up,
draft
Kens.
and free agency. Just a nice 12-on-12 game. We do each have a goaltender, so it's very possible. And we each took 4D. Wow, yeah. 7 forwards. Look at that. So that's a fun little exercise, Cheryl. How would you describe PWHL Vancouver?
Well, right now, I mean, I think we've built a strong foundation. I think we've got a strong, solid base of, I've got 4 defenders that I can rely on and trust, a goaltender I can look behind and say, yeah, you got my back. And then I look up front and I know I'm deep through the middle and my flanks are strong. I've got a little bit of edge on each line. I've got a little bit of finesse and I've got some speed. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the trifecta amongst my group. I've built 2 lines. I've built a back end. Now I need supplementary pieces. And that's the critical element, is figuring out now what will go with what. Because building a roster is also about a puzzle. It's not always about just the best players who are all suited to do the same things. And that's what made this exercise so very difficult. Mm-hmm. Because you might look at a player who might be the faster, but is it that speed that you're looking on a particular line? Maybe you're looking for a shot or an IQ or specialty team. So I think you got to round out now with players who can, support and continue to add and bolster your lineup. It's difficult to know. I guess time will tell if we got it right.
Okay, Cheryl, so let's recap who we have selected in this expansion process. So as PWHL Seattle, to recap, my 12 players are, first and foremost, Hillary Knight, Kayla Barnes, forward Susanna Tapani, defender Claire Thompson, forward Michaela Cava, and then in the draft, I went with Emirates Mashmeyer, Carmen, Gabby Hughes, Ashton Bell, Abby Boreen, Jamie Lee Rattray, and I rounded it out with Scepters forward Izzy Daniel.
Well, that's going to be quite a team, and I'm trying to match you here. So in my exclusive window, I chose Alex Carpenter, Erin Ambrose, Sophie Jakes, Hannah Miller, and Jennifer Gardner. As we move into the expansion draft, I went with Corrine Schroeder as my netminder, into Grace Zumwinkle, Jessie Eldridge, Emma Molte, Danielle Serdachny, Ali Simpson, and I'm going to round out it with the shutdown defender in Emily Brown.
And that's our best crack at a mock draft if we were PWHL Seattle and Vancouver. I really like these teams, but we'll leave it to the professionals now, as from now June 4th until the 8th, the 5-day exclusive signing window is open in the PWHL draft, and we can find out for real where some of these players will be landing.